Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
Oregon is going to the Final Four.
The following is a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
It's time for Tip-Off Tuesday.
I love the five. I really like this group.
Richardson to the basket, tough lay-in, and one!
A wide open three is good.
Part of being a good leader is having guys who are willing to follow.
They compete. That's the one thing I've noticed. They get after each other.
Dante flush!
Indy top left.
Three is good, Endyia Rogers!
What I really appreciate about them is they do want to just play.
And that's what happens when you bring it every day in practice. You become a disciplined, reliable player.
This is Tip-Off Tuesday on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by Toyota. Let's go places. Today's broadcast is also brought to you by Pepsi and Bigfoot Beverages. Go Ducks! Drink Pepsi. Let's talk Oregon Ducks basketball. From the Country Financial Studio, alongside Terry Jonz, here's Joey Mack.
We've got a homestand for Oregon men's basketball coming up against the Mountain Schools, Colorado and Utah, 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock, Thursday, Saturday, and then the Oregon women's basketball team traveling to the Bay Area, 7 o'clock on Friday evening in Berkeley, 1 o'clock Sunday afternoon at Stanford. And unfortunately, there are a lot of parallels for these two teams coming off their last two games. Some slow starts, some vicious comebacks, and then came up a little bit short for the men at Stanford, and then for the women, never mind. Yeah. There were some parallels.
There's that place up in Corvallis.
There were some parallels between the two programs. So, Terry, I think it's safe to say that we've both been riding a roller coaster, and my stomach's getting a little bit sick.
Yeah, you know, they're frustrating, but at the same time, you're so proud of them that they fight. They fight to the end. But it's, you know, the coaches are too, and the players, they're frustrated too. And they're going, you know, we just need to pick it up. And I think both of them can.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. When you see them at their top of the game, when they're in the midst of that comeback, you're like, oh, my gosh, you could play against anybody in the country if you bring that game. But you got to bring it for 40 minutes.
Yeah. 20 up, 20 down. Dane Altman always says that. 20 up, 20 down. And I just can't help but hear that in my internal thought process throughout a game when it's a slow start or there's between TV timeouts, you don't like the energy. And I don't know. We'll see what happens. Now, on the men's side, Terry, I'll tell you, the shot selection hasn't been the problem. They're just not going. And so at some point, you'd hope that the shots start to fall. Similar for the women? I don't know.
Yeah, that's, you know, I asked Endyia Rogers, who we'll have on here a little bit later, about that. And she said, yeah, you know, sometimes they're making them, we're not. And that's kind of when they get the separation, and then we start making them. We start to dig it in and make the comeback. But, you know, maybe it's the defense that you got to do it on and then turn it to offense. I mean, I know the Oregon men have been really good at that when they throw the press on it
right.
over the years, not just this year, and turn it on. And the same with the Oregon women. When they get after it defensively, the offense seems to get going, and the other team isn't scoring as frequently. And when they do that, it's a pretty thing to watch and fun to call, by the way.
That's right. Broadcaster sounds a lot better when the team wins. Broadcaster doesn't sound as good when the team doesn't win. So we have a vested interest.
Yeah, we do. We're selfish, you know.
These things. Yeah, why not? So on today's show, I talked with Kevin McKenna this morning, one of the, if not the longest tenured staff member in the Pac-12 conference on the men's side.
Yeah.
Dane
He has
Altman,
an NBA championship, doesn't he?
With the Lakers,
Got the ring, yeah.
He does. But yes, it's amazing to think about with Colorado and Tad Boyle and then Oregon and Dane Altman, the two longest tenured head coaches in the conference, both at a baker's dozen. This is their 13th season. And Kevin McKenna has been with Coach Altman as an assistant coach, now as a director of player development. So I talked with him about all that. It was interesting talking to him, and he's always been a great interview, always very generous with his time. Meanwhile, on the women's side, getting a student-athlete featured today.
Yeah, Endyia Rogers is having an MVP season. I mean, other than a couple off games, she has been fantastic. A 34-point game against the Beavers back on December 11th. 33, it was a loss against Washington State. And interesting, with the media afterwards, they were saying, you know, hey, how well you're playing. And she was having none of it and said, we didn't win.
Right.
You know, I don't care. I mean, you know, I missed a couple shots. I could have defended somebody, but, you know, and she just wants to win. And also sat down with the big guy, Kelly Graves.
Kahuna.
The big kahuna.
Did you ask about that yet?
I didn't. You know,
Okay.
I looked that
All right.
up, and I'm not sure. It says, yeah, it's the chief, but, yeah, I don't know whether it's offensive to Hawaiian people or not.
I don't know.
We'll have to
That's
ask
why
somebody.
we have to ask someone, him,
Yeah.
in general. But in any case.
Is he Hawaiian?
No.
Oh, okay.
But he's got to like the name, right?
He does.
Yeah.
I think. I don't know.
Okay, we'll
I
find
think
out.
I've called him that before. I don't know.
I don't remember.
I don't either.
I just call him the boss.
Are we going to hear from him?
Yes. Kelly Graves, Kevin McKenna, Endyia Rogers, all coming up. When we come back to Tip-Off Tuesday, presented by Toyota, Kelly Graves talking about a big trip to the Bay Area. Could be a big weekend for Oregon women's basketball. Tip-Off Tuesday, our weekly coaches show on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear winter, Toyota's got 20 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, and that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action, and we'll bring the traction. Always Toyota. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer's websites as of 11/21/22.
All right, Pepsi-loving football fans, it's time we had a lesson in trash talk. And I'm not talking about that stuff that happens on the field. What I'm talking about is trash, and it's the only thing that belongs in your garbage can. No, recycling might not be as thrilling as converting a 4th and long, but next time you're thinking about throwing that Pepsi Zero Sugar bottle away, just cap it back up and pretend you're down by 6 with the recycling bin wide open. Know the difference? Make a difference. Be a team player and recycle. Visit PepsiTrashTalk.com to learn more.
Dear winter, Toyota's got 20 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, and that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action, and we'll bring the traction. Always Toyota. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer's websites as of 11/21/22.
You're listening to Ducks basketball on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. He sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself.
For many military veteran caregivers, their caregiving journey starts earlier in life and lasts longer. Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Back to Tip-Off Tuesday, Terry and Joey, as we talk women's basketball. Here's the Duck women heading down to the Bay Area. It's Cal first on Friday, and then Saturday against number 3 Stanford over at Maples Pavilion. Yeah. I still want to call it Palo Alto, but they call it. It is Stanford, California.
You have to go through Palo Alto to get there.
That's true.
I say it too. Sorry, Stanford.
You know where it is. But anyway, got a chance to sit down and talk with Coach and talk about the past weekend and what's coming up. Here's Coach. You had won 3 in a row up in Corvallis, and they finally got you. But it was one heck of a battle right down to the end, wasn't it?
Well, it was. It was a good game, exciting game anyway. And but unfortunately for us, it was the same recipe that we've had in each of our losses. We dug ourselves a hole with one kind of bad stretch, and then made a furious comeback and had a chance to win the game there at the end, last possession. But we've kind of heard this story before. We just, when you're leading 3 scorers, go 10 of 37 from the field, you're not going to win. I mean, I don't care who you're playing, and but we've got to find a way to pull one of these close games out.
Yeah, I was talking to somebody the other day, and I just said, yeah, they're frustrating, but you know what? You're so damn proud of them at the same time because they never quit.
Yeah, we don't, and we've kind of joked after the UCLA game. I put on the board, that we're starting the USC game 10 points down. We just seem to play better when we're behind, and we went out and played a great game that night. So maybe we've got to, do that every game, or just start with the mentality that we're down, and and so we're gonna maybe make some changes this week in terms of our style, what we are going to try to do earlier in the game. But It just seems that it's one little stretch.
Yep.
And I've got to do a better job as a coach, to recognize when we're in that, maybe timeout or two or substitute or whatever, change our strategy so that we don't have that little lull that might only last 2 or 3 minutes, but it puts us in a hole. And, but I think we're still playing pretty good basketball. The numbers show that. But we got to win some of these,
Yeah, and the players know this too. I mean, they understand. They're not dumb. They great basketball players, and they know basketball really well. They understand what's happening, and you just got to fight your way out of it.
Well, you do. And let's face it, we're just probably 3 possessions, right, and 3 of our losses away from being 7-1 right now.
Yeah.
Feeling pretty good going into the Bay against a team we would have been tied with, but instead we're 4-4. I mean, it's kind of crazy that that it can come down to just a possession here, a possession there. But unfortunately, we're not the ones making the plays when needed.
Yeah, this conference is crazy, isn't it? 7th place, the Ducks are in 7th place, and at 4-4, like you said, you're just not far from being right up there. You're not that far out of first place, to be honest.
Yeah, well, there's we have 10 games left, and so there's obviously a lot of basketball to be played, and and most of those teams are ahead of us, so we can we have a chance to knock them off and get ourselves back in it. At this point with 4 losses, is Stanford going to lose 4 times? Probably not. But I think we can still put ourselves into a position to get one of those top 4 seeds. We don't have a ton of depth in terms of just sheer numbers. And so to go down and hope to win 4 games in 4 days in the Pac-12 tournament, might be tough. So I think we've got really, something to play for to get one of those top 4 seeds. And we still have a good opportunity to do that.
Confidence is an interesting thing with players and teams, for that matter. But Chance Gray, right now, is very confident.
Yeah, well, she came in confident, but yeah, she is now seeing some positive results, and so that just feeds it more. Yeah, she's playing really well right now, and and thank goodness, she's kept us in a couple ball games recently. But it's fun to watch. It's fun to see. You see the potential. We all knew it was there,
right.
And now that she's just shooting it better, and like you said, playing with confidence, being aggressive, it's really showing in her stat line.
And Taya Hansen. Had an off game against Washington State, but the two around that, the sandwich, which she's good. She can really shoot it.
She can, yeah, and she's been playing well. Defensively, she's been a lot better for us as well. Terry, that's why it's frustrating, but at the same time, I'm still hopeful. We haven't put it all together at the same time. Both ends of we've shown great flashes of really solid defense. And same at the offensive end, we're still one of the most efficient teams in the country offensively. But on a given night, so the night Taya and Chance shoot the ball really well, we have our other guards didn't, and we just if we can get it on the same page, I think we're good enough to beat anybody on any given day. We just got to find that magics.
On the other end, Grace had a tough game. I mean, she's had ankle problems. She's been beat up. Teams are game planning against her because they don't want her to go off. And had a tough game. And how's she doing?
Well, I haven't seen him since. So we played Friday night, and then we took Saturday and Sunday off. Today we're going to actually have more of a practice on a Monday. Usually that's a day we kind of run, lift, shoot, those kind of things. So today will be the first chance I have to to see her. I think she's fine. She's the kind of player just steady Eddie.
Yeah.
She doesn't get too high and too low. So hopefully, she has put it behind her, and I think she's the kind of player that will. And if she hasn't, I can remind her to do that because we need her to, be positive going forward.
One game in the rivalry series where you played them December 11th, Oregon State, and then split up. And we talked about it in the pregame, but it's kind of a good thing to get a little bit of rest where you got a chance to take a couple days off here right in the middle of the grind.
No question. When you really think about it, between Christmas break and the week off in between the Pac-12 tournament and the NCAA tournament, our players get no weekend off, not one. And so with the way we, broke the rivalry games up, now we had a chance to give them truly a day off. And when I say they don't even have a weekend off, they don't even have a true day off because we play on Sundays. So our day off is actually Tuesday. Well, they have classes.
Right.
So it's not like really a day off. So I like it. I like the concept. I hope we keep it.
Yeah. Endyia Rogers is going to talk to Indy here, going to be our player guest here on Tip-Off Tuesday this week. And, other than a couple games, she is having an MVP season, isn't she?
Yes, she is. Yeah, no question about it. She's a big-time player and seems to come up big on her biggest, on the nights we need her. She's showing great leadership. I think her skill set is getting better. She's playing with confidence. She's, like you said, having an MVP kind of season.
Okay, heading down to the Bay Area, trying to get right here. Cal, interesting. Talk about the transfer portal.
Yeah.
Charmin Smith really used the transfer portal. A lot of new players, and they have really kind of turned this program around where they're really competitive now, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. Yeah, this is the best Cal team that they've had since Charmin's been there, certainly, but for a while. They use the transfer portal. It's one thing to use it, but it's another to use it right and use it well, and they did. I think Camry Martin in the backcourt, just a really solid player, and gives them some perimeter shooting that they haven't always had. Right. And then Peanut inside is a great leader. I mean, JR coached her at Colorado. She graduated there. She didn't leave under any bad circumstance. She just wanted to go back home. Right. She'd already graduated from Colorado. Great leader. JR loved her to death. And she's given them a really solid presence inside, especially defensively. So, much different and a much better team. Jada Curry is one of the best shooting guards in the country. And then McIntosh.
Yeah.
I think she's really improved and is playing with a ton of confidence. So their backcourt is really, really good.
Then Stanford on Sunday.
Yeah, well, we'll worry about that after we play on Friday. We can't look ahead, and that's going to be something I've got to get our team focused on, and I think we will, because we're not in a position to be looking ahead. We have to look at what's next. But, Stanford is, the standard, certainly, and, for the last couple of years. And, we've got our work cut out for us, but USC showed that, they're vulnerable, and some other teams have played them close, including Cal. So, it's going to be an important weekend for us.
All right, Coach. Looking forward to the trip, and let's go get a couple wins and
be fun.
Thanks.
My son Max will be out. He's coming out from Baltimore for
great
on business in the Bay Area, and so he's going to have a chance to see the Ducks a couple times.
And he's always good luck.
Yeah, if you need a color guy,
Yeah.
We
may do that.
I think he's done that with you before.
Yeah.
He's pretty good. He knows a lot about our team. So.
Yeah. All right, Coach. Thanks.
Okay, buddy.
Good luck. Yeah, Max.
Hey, no pressure.
Max.
Hey, Max, no pressure.
Yeah.
You got to follow Bev.
Yeah.
No pressure.
Max is pretty
Just
good,
a
though.
Hall of Famer.
Yeah. Max knows the system. He knows what Dad's trying to do out there.
True.
So that could be pretty good.
Basketball
but,
family.
looking forward to the Bay Area trip, and a better Cal team. That's used to be you go down there, you could almost a win. Not that way anymore.
Yeah.
And then of course you have Stanford, but one at a time.
One at a time.
Yep. What's up next?
Kevin McKenna. This is a fun conversation about a long career in the Pac-12 Conference. So we talked a little big picture and then talked about this Oregon team, what it's going to take to be successful on this next homestand for men's basketball. That's coming up. Tip-Off Tuesday presented by Toyota on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Ready to get back in the game? Great news. The movement experts at Proactive Physical Therapy Specialists can help you find relief and results and keep you off the sidelines. With 16 convenient locations across Oregon and Southwest Washington. Contact Proactive Physical Therapy Specialists today at proactivepts.com to see a physical therapist. Proactive Physical Therapy Specialists, a proud partner of Oregon Athletics and trusted choice for keeping Duck fans in the game.
At Mountain Dew, we'd like to remind you that the world as we know it would not exist without the number 0. Which is why, at Mountain Dew, we'd like to recognize the number 0 for making Mountain Dew Zero Sugar possible. Even with no sugar, it packs all of the bold citrus kick Dew Nation knows and loves. It's so good, you have no reason not to try it. As in 0. Get it? Crack open an ice-cold Mountain Dew Zero Sugar. It's zero sugar, all dew.
You're listening to Oregon Basketball from Learfield.
To protect his home and family from disaster, Steve used courage, wisdom, and his camera phone.
That should do it.
Way to go, Steve! By simply taking digital pictures of his family's important documents, Steve can always have them stored safely online, no matter when disaster strikes. Learn other simple ways to protect your home and family before a natural disaster at ready.gov. That's ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
Chris Jakimick, I served in the United States Air Force and I deployed 3 times. Being a veteran, it's interwoven into your DNA. It is really the absence of the connection and the purpose that can really drive a lot of veterans to some negative thoughts. For those who are in a suicidal crisis, the window of time to save somebody's life is very short. Our duty is to protect ourselves and protect our families. And one way you can do that is store your weapons safely. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
Welcome back inside the Country Financial Studio. It is Tip-Off Tuesday presented by Toyota. We got Oregon men's basketball coming up against Colorado. It's round 2 against the Buffs now as we enter the part of the schedule where Oregon will play some teams for the second time. Rough game against Colorado last time when the Ducks were on the road. They got to right the ship, and every game matters here, building that resume. Got the chance earlier this morning to talk with Kevin McKenna. He's the Director of Player Development, a different title for him this year. We talked about that and some of the keys to success for the Ducks the rest of the way. Our conversation with Kevin McKenna. Thanks for making the trek. So I've said this now, Coach, to everybody who's come over, that it used to be that I just walked down the hallway and I said, hey, what's up in the basketball offices? Now it's a little different. If you like being over at the arena more, get a chance to be around your players a little more often?
Yeah, it's a little bit easier to hide from you and that over there. But no, it's nice. It's nice. It's just not having to go back and forth a couple times a day. We bump into our guys more. We spend more time with them. We see them more. And, I think it's been a great change and it's been really good to be over there.
I know that was a big focus with having you guys there permanently, was just being around the players. How valuable is that?
I think it's really valuable because, they come in and watch film. They come in and just grab a Gatorade and sit down and talk with you. And the way I view our job is to, not only get our guys to play better basketball, but to also have them think the right way, not the right way, but think in a good way, positive way to, just kind of mentor them and help along. I remember when I was that age, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know where I was going. I didn't know what to do. And I had good coaches that kind of guided me through that. And I take that to heart, and we take our job seriously like that. Coach Altman's really good with lifting guys up, giving them energy, giving them positivity, and we just try to do that on a daily basis.
For you personally, a lot of fans have asked me, well, what's different between an assistant coach and a director of player development? So I'm going to ask you that question to make sure that I've been answering it, accurately.
Well, it's pretty much the same. The only thing is, there's some restrictions on what I can do on the floor. I guess the best way to describe it is I can coach the coaches and help the coaches that way. When one of the coaches is gone, I can be on the floor and do my normal coaching thing. On the road recruiting or whatever, missing practice, I can step in and cover for them. So it hasn't changed that much. There's some other things that I'm doing, helping out with coach scheduling and some other things and getting things organized in that regard. But, not a whole lot. I guess the biggest thing for me is I'm not on the road recruiting, traveling anymore.
Yeah. So you're sleeping in, comfortable beds a little more often?
Yeah, it's just, it's just going to be less in the summertime. I really didn't leave the team, in the last 13 years. I haven't left the team that much anyways. Here and there I'd miss a practice here and there during the course of the season, but most of my travel was in the summertime off season.
I think that's something that maybe fans don't realize is how often assistant coaches and really the entire staff, if I'm not mistaken here, are always thinking big picture, right? Like you're always kind of looking ahead at next class, who you're evaluating. How do you guys go about managing that? Scheduling, coaching the current team, guys missing practice. I mean, there's a lot to unpack there, isn't there?
Well, this year's been really a challenge for our staff, for our program. With so many injuries and trying to manage that, trying to keep guys healthy so we can play games. I mean, there was times where we had 6 or 7 guys available, and don't get me wrong, our walk-ins have been tremendous and helped us a ton. But it's different when you're going against 5 walk-on guys and 5, scholarship guys. It's just the fact, and you can't really get a good look at what you're trying to do. So that's been a challenge, trying to manage all that, trying to manage the practices, trying to keep guys healthy, trying to get guys back to health, and so that's been a challenge, and it's probably led to some of our inconsistency.
Talking about player development too, I mean, can you quantify how much an injury like the ones you guys have suffered impacts development, not just maybe this season, but even long term for some of these student athletes?
Conditioning and weight training and just gradually growing with the team type stuff. You're out for 5 weeks. Nate was out. I don't know how long he was out, 5 weeks or so. And Jermaine, Keyshawn, I think Brennan's had like 3 bad ankle sprains where he's been out. So we haven't had that building type thing. I remember early in the season during one of our scrimmages, we were scrimmaging in Boise, and we were talking about that. And they hadn't had one guy miss one practice. And we had multiple guys miss almost every practice. And it was just like, man, they're getting ready, and they're having a good year. And so anyways, we're trying to get through that, and we are healthy now. We're trying to build things back up, and hopefully we can hit our stride and get more consistent.
Kevin McKenna chatting with us on Tip-Off Tuesday. How do you handle that as a player development perspective? How do you handle the mental aspect even of that when guys are out? That's tough on a student athlete.
Yeah,
isn't it?
You try to encourage them. I've been hurt before in my career back in the day, and it's frustrating. It's hard. You see the team going out on the road, and you're sitting there back in town, trying to get healthy and that. But you try to encourage them. You constantly are in communication with the trainer. Okay, what can we do today for him? Okay, he can shoot 50 shots. Okay, let's get him his 50 and get him ready for the next day. And Clay's had a tough year, but he's done a great job. I mean, Clay Jamison, our trainer, has done a great job over the time I've been here and in past years, and takes care of our guys, takes his job super serious, and he cares about what's going on and wants our team to be healthy and ready to compete.
A little bigger picture for you. I'm curious about your evaluation process, like not just necessarily when a player's young in their career, but as you want them to develop. What do you focus on when you want guys to develop and become better players?
Well, it just depends on what they need and what they need to be great and successful. And sometimes it's weight training, sometimes it's ball handling, sometimes it's just a little tweak in their jump shot. So there's a lot of different things that go into it. We try to evaluate our guys every day and see what they need. And a lot of times really it's just putting in extra time to do some of those fundamental things so it gets to be second nature, so it gets to be habit, so it gets to be a confident feel in your head, and those are the things that we try to stress to our players.
Kevin McKenna, Director of Player Development for Oregon Men's Basketball. That's part one of our conversation. We're coming back on Tip-Off Tuesday presented by Toyota with part two of our chat. Continuing that conversation about player development and also his thoughts on the Pac-12 Conference. Back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear winter, Toyota's got 20 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, and that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action, and we'll bring the traction. Always Toyota. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer's websites as of 11/21/22.
Once a duck, always a duck. That's OCCU. Since 1956, OCCU has been the credit union serving the University of Oregon community. With remarkable checking, My OCCU mobile banking, and nationwide ATM access. If you're a duck, you belong at OCCU, where you'll find fewer fees, higher savings rates, and lower rates on loans. And lots of fellow Duck fans. Go Ducks. Join OCCU. Learn more at myoccu.org/remarkable.
Dear winter, Toyota's got 20 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, and that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action, and we'll bring the traction. Always Toyota. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer's websites as of 11/21/22.
You're listening to Ducks Basketball on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you prevent wildfires.
Dude, I've got this. I've been camping since I was 5 years old.
But I am a camping influencer.
You know what? I'll bet you $5. Assistant Smokey, what is the best way to put out a campfire?
To put out a campfire, drown with water, stir, drown again. Then make sure the fire is out cold by feeling with the back of your hand.
Wait, really?
I'll take the $5.
Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
It's time for today's STEM tip. Okay, you know recycling is important. No one wants plastic in the ocean. Here's a cool way to repurpose a plastic bottle. Build an awesome terrarium. Cut a large plastic bottle in half and fill the base with sand, pebbles, potting soil, and your favorite plant. I chose an African violet. Put the top of the bottle over your base and place it in the sun. Your plant will grow sealed in its own ecosystem. Fun, right? Learn more at She Can STEM. A message from the Ad Council.
We're back on Tip-Off Tuesday, presented by Toyota, our weekly basketball coaches show. We've already heard from Coach Graves, now continuing with Coach McKenna, and it's interesting, in his new role, things have changed a little bit for him. We continue to talk about that and look ahead to this matchup at home for Oregon men's basketball with Colorado and Utah, 6 o'clock and 5 o'clock on Thursday and Saturday at Matthew Knight Arena. Continuing with Kevin McKenna. This might be a bit of an obvious question, but the growth of staffs around the country, I mean, we're seeing more and more of positions like yours, player development, and all these different titles that I think a lot of fans aren't even necessarily sure what they mean. Just how have you seen that change college basketball with bigger staffs, and all of you can maybe specialize a little bit more?
Yeah, I think it's helped in some regards, and in fact, I think next year it's going to change even more. I think they're actually, the new rule, I think it's starting, I'm not sure the exact date, but maybe August 1st. It might even be after our season. They're going to allow 6 guys to be on the court, and so my job will basically, kind of be normal like it used to be, except just not recruiting on the road.
Interesting.
So yeah, I think it's led to a little bit more comprehensive approach to the overall picture of a basketball program. Coach Altman, obviously, he's like the CEO of our program, and he just kind of delegates and tells everybody what they need to do. And I will say this: he dominates practice. I mean, he's super hands-on, and I have been with him long enough so I can chime in on those days I'm allowed to. And basically, I think one of the rules that I have, and this is kind of what I've kept in my head, is I can coach the coaches, and so I can go over and say something to one of the coaches, and they can relay it, and that's kind of how we've operated this year. I
want to ask you a little bit about the Pac-12, because I was thinking about this before you came in today, that Coach Altman and Coach Boyle are the 2 longest tenured head coaches in the conference. You've been with Coach Altman here at Oregon for the entire tenure, so you're the longest, if not one of the longest, I guess, the staff members in the Pac-12. In your tenure, what's defined the Pac-12 in your 13 years in the conference?
From a basketball standpoint, I think it's been really competitive. I think we've done a good job of staying at or towards the top year in, year out. We've been competitive every year. We've won over 20 games, a bunch of NCAA tournaments, Final Four. We've helped guys graduate. We've helped guys move on to the pro level. That's probably been, to me anyways, one of the most gratifying things is seeing guys get their diplomas and then also seeing guys reach their dream of playing in the NBA or even playing high-level Europe basketball where they can make a good career out of it. And that's been gratifying for us to see, and especially see some of the guys get to that level from where they've come from.
Sure.
Chris Boucher, Chris Duarte, Dylan Brooks, Peyton was, just a lot of these guys weren't highly sought after, highly recruited. We saw something in them. They had something in them and made it work and made it, obviously done really well at the next level. So that's been really cool to see.
How much do you keep track of the products? Are you like me, where you're kind of following box scores all throughout the week?
Oh, yeah. My brothers do, too. They send me, hey, Bulbul's doing great tonight,
that's
or
cool.
Chris Boucher's on fire tonight, and they send me the stats. And I look myself a lot, too, and when they're on, I watch them. And when we can, we go up and see them in Portland when the guys come through, and that's always fun to see them. And it's just I think we've established a pretty good connection with those guys, and we want to see them flourish. We want to see them do well, and we want to see them come back.
Back to the Pac-12 for a second. What do you make of the league this year? I mean, what's your breakdown of the Pac-12?
I think a lot of teams can beat a lot of teams. Yeah. Good teams can lose to guys that are kind of towards the bottom, and bad teams can rise up and have a good game. It's funny how the game is really kind of evolving, and I don't know if I'm just late to the party, but it seems like teams that win the rebounding battle and teams that hit more threes are consistently winning at a higher clip. And I've been doing my unofficial, stats on it, and it's like, there's 22 games. If you see 20 of the 22 games, like 17 or 18 of them are going to be won by the team that hit the most threes. It's just amazing, the numbers, and obviously the NBA has figured that out with the amount of threes they shoot in games and the amount of layups they try to get. Layups, free throws, open threes. That's what the game has kind of turned into, and that's kind of where we are. We do shoot a lot of twos. We still believe in getting good balanced twos, but we have kind of gravitated that way too.
That's the balancing act, though, right? You want a good shot, but you want to score as many points as possible.
Sure. And the analytics obviously say that the threes and layups and free throws are the best way to get to that highest number.
Right. Talking about the team currently and then the weekend ahead. Obviously, every weekend now is critical, Coach. Just break it down for us. Colorado trying to bounce back against them, and then Utah trying to maintain some momentum against the Utes this weekend.
Yeah, Colorado, that was probably our worst game of the year at Colorado this year. We didn't shoot the ball well. We didn't defend very well. They're playing good basketball, and they present problems with their ability to take guys off the dribble. They have a lot of guys that can, 4 guys on the court at the same time that can all put it on the floor and get to the basket and put pressure on the rim. So we're going to have our work cut out for us there. That's been a kind of a problem for us this year. And then Utah, we played really well at Utah. After having a poor game at Colorado, we bounced back that next game, and they were undefeated at the time in the conference. I think 5-0 at the time, and we knocked them off and played pretty well. And so they're ahead of us too. So it's like I said, every game's going to be a challenge, and we've got to be ready to go, and we've got to try to keep playing good basketball.
I always end with this: keys to success over the weekend. What's going to take for this team to take the next step?
Well, basically what I talked about is defending the dribble. We've got to shoot the ball better. We haven't shot the ball very well this year at all. It's mind-boggling. We shot 33s at Stanford, and 25 of them were really, really good threes, and shots that we're trying to get for our good shooters, and they just haven't been going in. And then free throws, cost us a little bit in that Stanford game too. And then the other thing that's just mind-boggling, I don't know what we got to do for this, but our free throw defense is like unbelievable. I mean, teams are shooting almost 80% in conference against us from the free throw line, which is just like, how does that even happen? I mean, nobody misses free throws against us. So hopefully down the stretch here, the basketball gods will even this thing out, and we'll get the other team to miss some free throws.
I'm glad you said that, because I've kind of joked a little bit with Coach Altman about it, like, hey, this is going to be the game where somebody misses some free throws, right? And it really hasn't happened. It's really amazing.
No, it's mind-boggling how and you got guys up there that you want on the other team to shoot free throws, and they're just like, man, the guy's shooting 45%. He makes 2 in a row. At crunch time, you're like, wow.
Yeah, yeah. But I will say it's nice. The free throw percentage, meanwhile, for you guys has gone up a little bit the last couple
of weeks. It has. We have gotten better. We just got to, keep putting that time in and gaining that confidence to step up there and shoot them.
Well, Coach, I really appreciate you taking the time, coming over, chatting. Good to catch up with you officially on the show. And, hey, thanks for being here.
All right, you got
Coach.
it, Joey. Take care.
Appreciate that with Coach McKenna, Director of Player Development for the Ducks. And, it was fascinating to see now for weeks, months, that opposing free throw percentage is through the roof against Oregon. It's just, he said mind-boggling. I'll call it a little ridiculous at this point. Someone's got to miss.
Yeah.
Oregon's starting to hit free throws at a better clip, though, with Keyshawn Barthélemy and Jermaine Couisnard coming back. Keyshawn, a really good free throw shooter. I asked him actually a week ago, who's the better free throw shooter, him or Rivaldo Soares? Percentage-wise, they're the two best. And without any hesitation, Keyshawn said me. And Waldo knows it. So, guess we'll find out. Meanwhile, coming up, Endyia Rogers.
Speaking of, you got to make your free throws.
Yes.
The Jonz.
It's true.
By the way.
It's true.
Rest in peace, buddy. All right, Endyia Rogers coming up next and having an MVP season, just having a great, great year. And we'll hear from her about that next here on Tip-Off Tuesday here on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
It's time to play Perfect Food Pairings, brought to you by Mountain Dew. This dish pairs perfectly with the bold citrus kick of Mountain Dew.
Oh, street tacos.
Sorry, that is not the answer we're looking for.
Flamin' Hot Cheetos?
Sorry, that is also not the answer.
What the heck?
Is it chicken wings?
Correct.
What? Wait a second.
Yeah, hold on. Mountain Dew pairs perfectly with street tacos.
And Flamin' Hot Cheetos.
This show is so lame.
This show is not lame.
Yeah, you're lame.
Nothing pairs perfectly with food like Mountain Dew. Do the Dew.
Ready to get back in the game? Great news. The movement experts at Proactive Physical Therapy Specialists can help you find relief and results and keep you off the sidelines. With 16 convenient locations across Oregon and Southwest Washington. Contact Proactive Physical Therapy Specialists today at proactivepts.com to see a physical therapist. Proactive Physical Therapy Specialists, a proud partner of Oregon Athletics and trusted choice for keeping Duck fans in the game.
You're listening to Oregon Basketball from Learfield.
This is your captain. We are going to be experiencing some slight turbulence. Please fasten your... Oh, hold on. Just got a video of my cat.
Imagine the pilot of an airplane was as confident as you are texting and driving. Seems kind of crazy when you put it like that.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Here's a fun fact for you. The average chameleon can point their eyes in 2 different directions. On the other hand, the average human can't. So unless you're a chameleon, there's absolutely no way you can focus on texting and driving at the same time. So don't do it, unless you're a chameleon.
Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Tip-Off Tuesday. Tip-Off Tuesday.
It's a tongue tie.
It is, yeah. But we've been saying it for how many years, and I've never gotten it wrong before.
Well, you know what? Well, I should say we really added to it when Toyota came on board as our presenting sponsor.
Okay, so Tip-Off Tuesday presented by Toyota.
Well, no, I got to tell you, originally I thought about it was going to be Toyota Tip-Off Tuesday, and I went, nope.
Yeah, nope. Yeah, we didn't yet.
It's Tip-Off Tuesday presented by Toyota. I needed that P in there.
Let's not torture ourselves.
Anyway,
we are talking women's basketball, and I got a chance yesterday to sit down and talk with Endyia Rogers. All right, Endyia Rogers is in the house. Glad to have you here, Indy.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, Indy was wandering around, and then she stepped into the studio and said, "What are you guys doing here?" So we said, "Well, come on in and sit down, right?" So, no, that's not, that's not the way it happened. Now, you're from Dallas. You a Dallas Cowboys fan?
I am.
So you're sad today?
I mean,
because of
I'm
that.
not as sad. They just kind of upset me a little bit. No, I don't let them just get me like mad. I don't.
Yeah. Did you watch the game?
Yes, I watched part of it because I was at the women's symposium, so I only got to watch a little bit of it.
So the women's symposium, what was that like? What was that about?
It was basically like women, a group of like female athletes.
Mm-hmm.
It was no like particular sport or anything, but the female athletes here at the university all got together in one area over there at MKA, and we just kind of talked about like life outside of our sport and how like it's okay if we don't know what we want to do now, because we still have plenty of time to figure out what we want to do. It was basically like women coming together to empower one another.
That's great, isn't it? That's a good thing.
Yes.
Yeah. So what are you doing in academics? Speaking of what you want to do after your pro basketball career is over, what are you taking in academics? What are you majoring in?
I'm majoring in GSS and applied economics, business, and society. Because I came a little too late and I couldn't get into the business school, so that was the closest thing I could get to business.
So what would you want to do? I mean, you just talked about the symposium. Do you have an idea after your pro career? What do you want?
I kind of want to get into real estate.
Ah, like commercial real estate?
No.
Build some malls and things, or no, just some homes?
I mean, well, if I have money to do that, yeah, but kind of just, I don't know, any kind of real estate, really. I don't have any, like, thing particular.
Free time. What do you do in your free time? What do you do? I mean, you got basketball, you got academics. I mean, that's pretty busy, but what's Indy like to do?
Free time, I like to shop.
Ah, online? Or
yeah, I'll go to the mall sometimes, but online. I kind of like to, I think people don't really know, but I'm like a sports person. And so I like to watch, like, if we're not playing, I'm watching somebody else play, like women's basketball. Like, I just have to watch. I can't, like, I'll be on the phone sometimes while I'm watching, but I really can't talk and watch at the same time because I'm just, like, so into the game. Football, anything, like, football and basketball are the main two, and I really don't start watching NBA until, like, the playoffs. But I like to kind of just relax, shop, and watch sports, go out to eat sometimes.
Yeah, high fashion, yeah. Yeah, that's what you do, right? You do. You like to dress up, don't you?
I do, yeah. I like to dress up when I have somewhere to go.
Who do you room with? Do you have roommates that are on the team?
No.
You're by yourself?
Yes.
You like being alone?
Yes.
I mean, living alone, not being alone all the time.
Well, like, I have 3 other roommates, but, like, they're just kind of, they're just students that go here. They don't play a sport.
You got the quad kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Going on, yeah.
Yeah. We kind of talk occasionally, but, like, sometimes, like, when I'm home, they're not there, or when they're there, I'm not there. So we talk, but it's not, like, an everyday thing because we kind of don't cross the same path.
Yeah, I got you. So we've talked about this when we had you on the post game with Bev and me, that you added to your game. I've heard from coaches for years, when you get better, you add to your game in the off season. And that's how you get better. Then you come back because everybody's got you scouted. They know what you like to do. You better be adding to your game or you're not going anywhere. You're not going to be getting better. And you did that, obviously. We talked about that. What went into that and what did you do? There's probably some little boys and girls out there listening and watching. What do you do in the off season to go do that?
In the off season, I kind of, like, I was back home for a little. And so I would go lift with, like, people that, like, train professionals. Mm-hmm. So I would get my lift in, and I'd go with my dad afterward to, like, he'll make me run a mile, and then do like some jump ropes or something for, like, 2 minutes straight. It's just, like, a lot. And then we would do, like, our on-the-court workout, working on everything, floaters, pull-ups, threes, deep threes. And so it's just like once you keep repping the same thing over and over again, it just kind of like comes. Yeah. Like I know for sure like I missed like 2 kind of step backs that I worked on a lot, but like if I'm not in a rhythm to do it, I probably have a slim chance of making it. But I think like just doing that over and over again, like the same thing over and over again, like I feel that makes me feel confident in my game.
Yeah, you got to have it so it's just automatic, right? You don't have to think about it when you're in a game.
Yeah.
You work on it during the off season or away from the game. Are you a trash talker? I don't see you out there talking, but I don't know. I don't always see everything.
I don't trash talk unless somebody says something to me. You have to say something to me first in order for me to.
You let the game do the talking, right?
Yeah, I think I told somebody to shut up before. But
you got a pregame routine?
I don't. I kind of show up to the locker room, get dressed, get taped, and then by that time it's time for me to run out to the court and get a couple shots up before the team has to start warming up, and then Yeah.
What this team? I was talking with Kelly this morning. You know how you get behind. It's kind of frustrating. I know you guys are frustrated. Yet we're also proud of you guys because you don't quit. It's an interesting dynamic with this team, is it? Because when you guys play at the end, making a comeback, if you played that way, you'd probably the whole game. You'd probably win the game. Do you guys feel that? How do you guys talk amongst yourselves?
I mean, we've talked as a group, as a team and stuff, and we kind of know, like, we get, like, the team just starts to go on runs, and we, like, don't respond, but it's like we're not scoring, they're scoring, so it's kind of like a lull a little bit, but I don't know. It's something that's got to get fixed soon.
Yeah, when you guys get it going, you're so good. You're so good, and you guys know that. I know. You're such a sweet personality off the court, but on the court, you're really competitive, aren't you? Where'd that come from?
I don't know. I just don't like losing. Growing up, I kind of played with boys my whole youth.
That'll do it, doesn't it?
Yeah, I
Toughen
played.
you up.
And my dad was always hard on me. He didn't care just because I was a girl. He still doesn't care, and I don't get it. But
Ready to go get a couple wins down in the Bay Area?
Please.
Okay.
I would greatly appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, Indy.
Yes, thank you.
Endyia Rogers, she is such a sweet person. I know if some of you fans, if you've gotten to know her and meet her off the floor, she's got such a kind personality.
Yeah.
But boy, on the floor, she's got some Sabrina in her out there.
She does.
She has she wants to win, and she's a fierce competitor.
Well, and for me, Terry, I mean, just watching, you were talking with her about adding to her game. I mean,
yeah,
what a difference it's made. You talk about MVP season. She's definitely playing at an all-conference level right now.
Oh, no doubt about it. Yeah, she's definitely in the top 5 of the conference. That she'll be there. Do we have another break, or we get?
No, we're
good.
We're almost done.
What are we doing?
Gonna need a big weekend for the women, huh?
Yeah, Friday night, 7 o'clock in Berkeley. Got to get that one. You just have to have that one. You know, Stanford, if you get it, it's a bonus. But USC showed Stanford is vulnerable, that they can be beaten. Cal, when Stanford played at Berkeley, Cal almost picked them off in the rivalry game for them. So, at least get one. And if you get both, and then let's come home. But the Ducks have 6 of their 10 games, regular season games left, and they're all on the 6 of them on the road. It's going to be a tough road, but they are capable of winning. So that's they got to earn it, and I guess that's the way it's supposed to be, right?
Now on the men's side, it is, and on the men's side, the Ducks, a perfect weekend has eluded them. The stringing wins together, that's what has been missing from this Oregon men's team, at least as you go up and down the schedule. Should the Ducks get 2 wins at home this weekend, Terry, Dane Altman would become the 11th coach in the history of the Pac-12 Conference to win 150 conference games.
Whoa!
It's a lot of wins. See if the Ducks can get it done at 6 o'clock on Thursday for Oregon and Colorado. Tip-Off Tuesday presented by Toyota. See you next week.
Guys, it's me, Isabella Gomez, filling in for Smokey Bear because he's got more to say than just...
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Like, if you're outside enjoying a barbecue, don't let a hamburger distract you from fire safety. Make sure you aren't dumping your hot coals or ashes onto the ground because that could start a wildfire. So take wildfire prevention seriously and let's save the world one day at a time. Juntos con Smokey Bear, podemos hacerlo. Go to smokeybear.com to learn more about wildfire prevention.